The rear exit Roush catback that we have here will be one of your louder systems available for the 2011 through 2014 EcoBoost powered F150, while also delivering a very cool look thanks to the dual tip rear exit design or configuration. Now, interested truck owners can look forward to a mix of 409 and 304 grade stainless steel throughout, complete with those massive polished tips, all for right around the low to mid $700 price point. Now, the bolt-on installation will get a solid 2 out of 3 wrenches on the old difficulty meter here, according to the site, taking an hour or two to complete from start to finish, as we'll demonstrate later in the video. But let's not waste any time, let's just jump right into that signature Roush tone you are getting from this system. And as you heard with our sound clips at the top of this video, if you want plenty of volume with your 3.5 Eco, the Roush is certainly not going to disappoint. So going to my patented and very official Wake the Neighbor scale, I had the Roush coming in at a solid 4 out of 5 on my 1 to 5, or again, 1 to Wake the Neighbor scale. And while the volume is certainly healthy here, the tone is going to be the big story for me. Deep tone, zero rasp with plenty of pops and turbo noise. I dig it. Now, inside the cab, you will hear this thing while cruising. It's certainly not whisper quiet, but I would not categorize it as offensive drone or anything like that. So just keep that in mind when pulling the trigger on an aggressive system like the Roush. So let's just talk about how the Roush achieves this very unique, very aggressive tone. And the star of the system will be the hollow chambered muffler design, which allows for all of that volume, but without the use of any internal packing in the muffler itself. So you're not gonna have to worry about that burning out or the sound changing on you over the years. Now, construction-wise, again, you are getting a mix of 409 grade stainless for, I would say, a majority of the system, including your 3-inch mandrel bent tubing and muffler. However, Roush does incorporate a small amount of 304 grade stainless here, thanks to these large 4-inch tips, which obviously, as you can see, have been polished to a mirror-like shine, and that's gonna exit out of the rear of the truck on the passenger side. Now, if you want a more traditional rear side exit behind that passenger side tire, Roush does also offer that kit here on the site for a very similar price point. But now we want to show you just how to get this system installed on your EcoBoost powered F150 at home. So with that said, here is our detailed walkthrough we promised you earlier, along with a quick tool breakdown.
Tools used for this install are an impact gun or ratchet, 10mm socket, 13mm socket, 15mm socket, 18mm wrench, and 21mm wrench. So the first step of this install is going to be getting your vehicle up in the air or safely supported on jack stands so that you can safely remove the factory exhaust system. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is use a 10mm socket on a ratchet to unbolt these two middle hangers right in front of the muffler. This is just going to make it easier when I go to unbolt the whole system. I can remove these after I've taken it all out of the truck. Next, I'm going to use a 13mm socket on my ratchet and remove the two pipes here at the inlet flange for the exhaust system. I have the muffler supported in the middle with a pole jack so that nothing can fall out of place while I get this unbolted. So now with the help of a friend, I'm going to remove the exhaust system from the truck. All right, now that we have our exhaust system removed from the vehicle, there is one hanger that we are gonna have to transfer over to our new muffler. It's this one right here on the muffler. And we're just gonna pull this off and slide it into place. And then when we install this in the vehicle, we'll just bolt it back down to the frame. Now I'm just gonna slide the clamp onto my new over axle pipe and slide that into my new muffler. I'm just gonna loosely bolt this down, but leave it loose enough that I can make adjustments as needed. I'm gonna use my 15mm socket on my ratchet and just snug this down a little bit. So provided in the kit is a new inlet flange from your cat to your muffler, and I'm just gonna use the factory hardware and loosely install that into place. And I'm just gonna lightly snug that down with my 13mm socket and then move on to the next step. Now I'm ready to install my muffler and over axle assembly. I'm just gonna slide this up over the axle and slide the hangers into place. Now I can reinstall my muffler hanger and bolt it down with the 10mm bolts. So the next thing you're gonna have to do is hold up your intermediate pipe to make your connection between the flange and the muffler. And what you're gonna do is hold it up into place, see where the lines are gonna fall, and depending on the length of your truck, make the mark in the necessary spot a couple inches beyond the inlet flange to the muffler. And we're just gonna make a mark with our paint pen, and then we'll take this over to our chop saw and make a cut. So now I'm ready to make my cut to cut my mid pipe to length. I have it mounted up here in my chop saw, and I'm gonna cut it right here on the mark. Eyes and ears in place, make sure we're safe, and we'll make our cut. Now that I have my intermediate pipe cut to length, I'm actually going to remove the flange pipe that I bolted on earlier so I can make my measurement, and I'm going to slide it into the intermediate pipe and then slide the whole thing into the muffler. I have my clamp pre-installed on my intermediate pipe and my muffler, and I'm just going to slide this into place and then rebolt my flange. Now I'm just going to take a 15mm socket on my impact gun, and I'm going to loosely tighten up the clamps enough so that I can make adjustments as needed, and then I'll go back and tighten everything down at the end. So the next thing I'm going to need to do so that I can install my Y pipe for my tips is take an 18mm wrench and a 21mm wrench, and I'm actually going to loosen up the leaf spring shackle bolt here at the rear. I'm going to back the head of the bolt just out far enough so that I can install a new hanger for the Y pipe. So I have my hanger rod pre-installed onto the Y-pipe as well as the clamp for the Y-pipe, and I'm just gonna slide that into place onto the end of the exhaust, and then I'll slide the hanger into the bolt slot. I'm gonna leave everything loose for now until I have all of my tips and pipes lined up the way I want them, and then I'll tighten everything down at the end. And next I can slide my tips into place. So now that I have everything installed, I'm gonna go back through and start tightening up my clamps, making adjustments as necessary, making sure that my tips are nice and even and also straight, and then I'll work my way back to the front of the exhaust and make sure everything's nice and tight. Now that I have everything positioned the way I want it and all my clamps are tightened down, I can go back and tighten up my leaf spring shackle bolt. And that's going to wrap up this review and install of the Roush Performance 3-inch single exhaust system with Y-pipe tip fitting your 2011 to 2014 F-150 EcoBoost. Thanks for watching, and for all things F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.